First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thank you very much for joining us. We are live streaming here from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. I suggest the Fox 12 Oregon app for that, but however you found us, we do, again, appreciate you being here as part of the show. And while I'm here in studio, we do sometimes leave the studio and go out and do some reporting on different topics from around the region. This segment is about the Chinook Indian Nation. Now, this is a group of 5 tribes surrounding the mouth of the Columbia River on both the Oregon and Washington sides. We went out there to speak to them about their efforts to seek federal recognition, which is something they have been going for a long time. They had it for a certain period. For a short time, it was taken away. We get into that during this interview, but the backdrop of this interview is also the fact that they invited us out to their first salmon ceremony, which took place on June 20th at Fort Columbia State Park on the Washington side of the river. I was very honored to be invited out there for that, to be able to witness that as the backdrop of talking about this federal recognition and what they would like with that, what it would mean for them. We go in depth with all of that during this interview, so we'll just go for it right now. Rachel, thank you for having us out here today. You know, it's there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the ceremony and everything, but I was hoping we could just start off for anybody out there to just explain the Chinook, Indian Nation, what that is and what it consists of.
Hi, I'm Rachel Cushman, Naikayaku, Naikatulakam, and Saika Chinook Indian Nation, and Saika Klatsip, Kathlamet, Wakayakam, Willapa, Pilor Chinook. My name is Rachel Cushman. I am an elected and hereditary leader of the Chinook Indian Nation, which is made up of the 5 most Western Chinookan-speaking tribes at the mouth of Igai Imath, where we are standing here today. But the Chinook Indian Nation is a formerly federally recognized tribe. We signed treaties across the river at Tansy Point, Oregon in 1851. Those treaties were never ratified by the Senate. They were tabled, so it left us in a legal gray area. We did enter into another treaty negotiation in 1855, about 4 years later. Despite threats and coercion, we refused to sign those treaties because it would move us away from our homelands here at the mouth of the Columbia River, and our ancestors knew that our place is what makes us who we are. Our relationship to the place, to the animals, so like the salmon that we're celebrating today, makes us who we are. And if we were to be moved away from that, we would lose that. Our leadership today, we're fighting really hard, going every pathway to recognition. It's not the most fun process, obviously, 21 years last time, but we're doing it because it's what we need to do. What directly would that mean, just to kind of sum up some of the other things you said, what directly would that mean for the people of Chinook? So we would, federally recognized tribes have certain protections, acts of Congress, that educational opportunities, healthcare opportunities, all the things that we're really afraid about losing right now. Those are things that are promised in treaties, and federally recognized tribes have access to. We don't have access to any of those things. So we have all the problems of Indian country without the health care, mental health services and things. To deal with these things, like even seats at tables, like to be able to have a conversation about the future of this place. We're not guaranteed a seat at the table. So it's access to resources, protections, and it is a seat at the table. Most importantly, is the direct access to services. We have, really high homelessness rates, food insecurity rates, lack of access to healthcare rates. And as a federally recognized tribe, it wouldn't be perfect by any means, but it would at least give our community a chance, a leg up to survive. Yeah, a fighting chance. Yeah. Tony, thank you for having us here. Really, really appreciate it and feel honored to be here today.
to get to be a part of this and just watch what just went on today. But for everybody out there, just to explain, would you mind giving just an overview of what a first salmon ceremony is and what it means?
Well, Flachauium, Elip, Conchishlustumdum Nikopus, Conamax Wawa, Kabamaika, Alda. Our first salmon ceremony, along with so many other of our community obligations, are just that. I mean, these are obligations that we have inherited as human beings in relationship with the world and the things around us. The rules that were set in place in those moments for us as people to assure or ensure that salmon will always return to our place and that they will always come to us willingly to feed our folks. That's not something that just happens without our living up to our obligations.
And I think that key word there, that obligation, because looking at it like that, like this is something that must happen.
Yeah, the community must do it.
Yeah.
This is an unbroken tradition. And so for folks that love fish and love this Columbia River's fish, think, in my opinion, the native people who have continued all along the river to honor those fish in the ways that we are required through our ancestral teachings.
Which is what we witnessed here today. Something about that ceremony too, that was, a lot of it was just very poignant, and again, thank you for letting us be here to witness this. But one of the moments there with the water and the salmon, can you explain what that was?
Our eating the first fish, we do a special preparation in the way that those fish are cooked and taken care of, and then also eaten. And then the bones of the first fish are brought back out into the river and are sent back to their people.
Yeah.
With the knowledge or with the information or with the news even for their people that the Chinook people still remember our obligations. But that moment, water is the most sacred of things. I think every human being knows that. Mm-hmm. Every culture knows that. Does every culture treat it that way? No. But for us, that water we can't say how important it is. And when we drink water ahead of a meal, or when we wake up in the morning, have a drink of water, that is a spiritual act. It's a sacred act. And so ahead of these really important fish, right, this salmon, when they come ashore, are treated like the hereditary chiefs. It's a chief has come to the community, right, where they're being lifted up. Well, in eating them, that water comes first, then that fish. And it's a way of honoring, again, a sacred commitment.
Yeah.
It's preparing your body, it's purifying the pathway for that fish.
And honoring that tradition, as you mentioned, that has been part of this forever.
Yeah, as long as there have been human beings, literally as long as there have been human beings in this place, this has been the tradition.
One thing, just talking about the human aspect of it too, I just wanted to bring this up, the real sense of community here of people, and it wasn't, it sounded like there were people coming from different places, but all coming back here to be together for this. And what does that mean for you to have a gathering like this, just as a human, to reconnect maybe with some of these other people?
It's a beautiful thing. There are folks that came here today from Norway.
I talked to him earlier today, or one of them.
Yeah, that man is a Norwegian. He was married to a relative, a Chinook person, and their kids are here, their grandkids are here. They traveled for this purpose, and that is an amazing thing. I was in the airport, I was out of town this week. I was in the airport Wednesday evening and had a girl come across the luggage area there and introduce herself to me, and is a Chinook woman who is living in Texas.
Wow.
and flew up here. Didn't make the ceremony today, but came for our general council meeting tomorrow. And that is that level of commitment, and that level of commitment to community is amazing. And some small part of the story of why it is absolutely outrageous that the Chinook Indian Nation is not a federally recognized tribe. And these things that are left, this ceremony, the knowledge that comes ahead of it, the connections to this place, that's our wealth. We are wealthy today despite all of the other issues.
Well, I want to say thank you very much for sharing just this today, and allowing me to be here and to tell people that, just what you just said right there, needing federal recognition and this is your wealth.
Well, Masi Pasmawawakagwa. Thanks for saying that.
A huge thank you to the Chinook Indian Nation for having us out there, and I want to say their website's chinooknation.org. We'll, of course, have links at kptv.com as well, and big thank you to Tony and Rachel and everybody there for inviting us out and allowing us to be there for that, to tell this story, and huge thank you to Anne-Marie Armstrong for editing all of that together. So really great job on that, and and one more thank you to everybody who's watching. So don't forget to download the Fox 12 Oregon app. You can check out all of our stories on that or at kptv.com. We cover a very wide range of topics here with Fox 12 Now, and it's always nice to be able to go out and tell a story like that one. You can send me an email, fox12now at kptv.com. That's fox12now at kptv.com. If you have any suggestions, questions, whatever that may be, send them to that email address and we'll see what we can do. But for now, thank you. We're going to take a break.